business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit. It's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day. My guest today is going to light you up. You're going to be motivated, you're going to be challenged, and most importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action both in your life and in your business. But before we dive in, here's your homework for today. How are you going to serve yourself and others today? Start with yourself. You can't serve yourself, can't serve others. So start with that. And it doesn't have to be big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage could change the game. So lean in, take notes. Let's discover how servant leadership in business and life can create ripple effects that last far beyond the bottom line. Quick shout out to Epic Impact, the only universal, emotionally resonant messaging framework that works anywhere for any audience. This 4-step purpose transformed how I pitch, post, and podcast. Engage, persuade, inspire, and close. You use it daily, and it really works. Grab your free trial at epicimpact.ai with promo code STEVE to start inspiring action today. And thanking my guest and you audience and my other guests. Now we're at 750 shows. We just hit top 20 in small business marketing. Wasn't for you guys, we would make the impact we are. We're going to keep making that impact, but I want to thank everyone. With that being said, we're going to talk about something very exciting. You own a business. How do you serve? How do you serve yourself? How do you serve your employees? How do you serve your customers? Well, scaling this thing and exiting and leaving a legacy for yourself to be able to do more servant after you sold your business. With that being said, let's bring to our show. Geoff, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Thanks, Steve. It's a real pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
We'll talk about the exit and business owners, a lot that listen, but you mentioned to me about connecting, and I talk about that a lot. Why is that such a passionate thing for you?
Well, being a connector comes very naturally to me, and I think you opened the door with your introductory comments. When you think about the why behind the what and the how. So the what is the connecting of people, but in so many ways and for so many reasons, we start with why. And so for me, the why is part of who I am at my very core from the time I was a child. A kid, and that is a desire to see people around me, friends, family, strangers, elevated, and that became expressed through sports, and helping people through sports as both an athlete and as a coach. Professionally, that moved into an expression through sales, a beginning career in financial sales. And then for the past 20 years as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and now serving as a CEO of an investment bank that helps business owners with that exit. And as a connector, being the what, that is a very immediate opportunity for me to elevate someone and help them get to where they're trying to go, whether it's in the immediate term or across a lifetime. And when we think about, for each of us, asking the question of the listeners, what is life-giving to you? And what drains your batteries? One of the things, and it's towards the top of the list that gives me joy, is seeing people get to where they're trying to go by connecting them. And naturally, that lends itself to problem solving. And but at the very core, it's just a heart's desire and a means of fulfillment through helping people.
And we've talked about before the show, I 100% agree with you. But, I hear this, and you may hear this too. Yeah, I understand this networking, connecting is important. But, Geoff, I got bills to pay. I got a wife and family I got to support. Where's the money?
Yeah, that's a really interesting comment. And I've had to learn some lessons about that observation over the course of a lifetime. The first conviction is, if your heart's desire is to help people, the money will take care of itself. Now, that can be a little altruistic, and there's limitations to that. And over the course of a lifetime, I've had to learn I can't help everybody. I can't be all things to all people at all times. And so part of my journey, now I'm 50 at this stage of life and career, is recognizing and prioritizing, okay, I've got 24 hours in the day. How can I make the greatest impact? And what's the highest and best use? Now, I'll tell you, it's still connecting people, but I still have to be really careful and prudent with my time. Because in the past, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners are cut from the same block of wood, where, we're the first to raise our hand to volunteer. And when you volunteer and you're a connector and you're a helper and maybe a peacemaker and a people pleaser, you get burnt out. That's kind of the other side of the conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. The other side, part of that burnout, is people taking advantage of you. It's happened to me,
yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, you answered that quickly. We're not saying to serve. If the needle is straight up, far left is not serving, not do that. And the other side is always serving and never asking or bring, there's value to you. And that comes with money. That's what money is. It's a value. Hey, Geoff's worth this. We're going to SDR Ventures is going to help me. I've got to pay for this value. So I love that you said that. Let's dive into business, because I think service heart is missing in business. You deal with a lot of business. How does SDR Ventures build that or look for that servant heart in a business culture?
Yeah, you bet. So SDR has been helping founders and entrepreneurs prepare for an exit or succession, and then the exit itself, and then furthermore, empowering that founder and entrepreneur and their family for a life of fulfillment and purpose after the exit, for 24 years across the entire United States and across virtually all industries. And we've been doing that headquartered in Denver. And I am, fortunate and privileged to serve as the CEO of SDR. And the way that we go about that is by talking to business owners every single day. And I mean hundreds of business owners in a given year, and understanding where they're at that very moment, understanding what their priorities, values, and objectives are, and then trying to empower them to take the next step. For some, that means increasing their sales for 2 years and then coming back and taking the business to market. Steve, it takes SDR, and it takes a company about 9 months from soup to nuts to actually sell. For others, there's a life event, a spouse that is diagnosed with Alzheimer's or cancer, and they call us and they say, hey, I've had a life event. I need to take my company to market immediately. And so from there are really the steps that separate SDR from our counterparts, which would be doing it yourself, a business broker, or another investment bank. And that is the very spirit of this podcast. It's a servant's heart. It's the recognition that we are not just here to execute on a transaction. We are stewards of, and we have a responsibility to that founder and entrepreneur to steward what they're stewards of, and that's their business. You might be surprised to hear that 70% of business owners actually regret selling in the first year that they sell. 70%.
Wow.
We believe, and we take this very, very seriously, that we have the ability with this servant's heart to help that family overcome the regret that does occur. And because we've been dealing with founders and entrepreneurs for 24 years, we know the steps that we can take in getting that business owner ready and getting their family ready, getting the business itself ready, so that, and if they're willing to take those steps, and then when they flip the switch and that company gets taken to market and we find buyers and it gets handed off, that transition and the likelihood of success and fulfillment is much, much greater. And so for us, we take your question very personally and very seriously, and there's a lot at stake. And by doing this for 24 years as a group, we know we have a responsibility and we can do something about it, instead of just plug and chug, rinse and repeat on a transaction. Thank you very much, Steve. Send me another referral, and leave someone else to pick up the broken glass.
Yeah, that's because I learned a little about exiting. It's not like selling your stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
No way.
And the problem with business owner, if you're listening, if you're a plumber or a business coach, service or product provider, you know how to do that very well. You guys are great at serving the client how to exit, because you know all the steps. You find the holes, filling the holes in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
How important is building a relationship tied to all this?
Well, it's very important because, and I touched on this, and thanks for asking the question. I and our team have got to have a really clear understanding of what your priorities, values, what the outcome you're looking for is. And there is so much depth to that question and to that process, but even just as important, the ability to then minimize risk and also maximize the after-tax result from the sale of your business. And I'll give you two simple examples here. If the listeners are charitably minded, they can gift parts of the company pre-tax before they sell the company. And then when they sell the company, the cost basis goes down. But we have to know, particularly in coordination with their wealth manager and their CPA, that they are charitably minded and that they do intend to give generously from the proceeds of the sale. Well, we know enough to know that we can do that giving with pre-tax dollars rather than, pre-cap gains tax dollars, rather than post-cap gains tax dollars. The only way that we know that is if we really go deep with that family and understand what's important to them and what they're about. Second example is, we were working with a business owner that produced key lime pies. Gentleman started out producing key lime pies out of his apartment and grew into the largest consumer of key limes in the United States through these pies. He wanted to stay in the city he was in. He wanted to keep the culture. He wanted to make sure that family continued to be employed by the new business. And so part of what we do is we give them options. And we understood specifically and intimately what was important to him and his family. And there was one potential buyer that offered a massive premium on the business, but they were going to decimate, and they were completely at odds with everything I just told you. And then we had another buyer that was absolutely enamored with everything that he described, but they were going to not pay the premium. They were going to pay a fair price, but not the premium the other one was going to pay. And a lot of soul searching, Steve, and it's a gut check. Yeah. Like I tell you on the front end, the culture means a lot. How much does it really mean? I told you on the front end, I want my son-in-law to work in the business. Is that really the case? And he chose the latter. And no regret, raving fan. And it was a victory for everybody.
Great stories, especially the charitable, because what I love about it is I didn't know about it. I'm sure people listening didn't know about it. But here's the other step. Somebody listening goes, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start doing charities and use that as my exit. There's a way to do it compliance-wise. We'll talk about compliance, tax-wise, that you guys help with, right? Because that would scare me. It's like, oh, I'm going to run, or if somebody tell me I'm going to run and do it. Have you talked to somebody yet? At least talk to somebody to do it right.
So, Steve, the way that we describe what you just said, and I hope there's some gold nuggets that the listeners really latch onto, but this is one of them. No matter where you're at on your journey, develop a team of experts that surrounds you. One of those is a wealth manager. One of them is a CPA, and not just a bookkeeper. There has to be some element of strategy where they understand your KPIs, your business, your dashboard, where you're trying to get to, and they're willing to talk strategy to some degree. Someone like us that helps you think about how to prepare for an exit, the exit. There are also attorneys involved. Might be a real estate attorney. It should definitely be an estate attorney. If you haven't had that conversation, that's your homework. Talk to your estate attorney.
Yeah.
Get a wealth manager on board, and at least once a year, whether it's virtually or literally in person, get these folks in the room so the left hand knows what the right hand's doing, and they're working together with your values, your priorities, your goals and objectives clearly defined, even if it's just written in pencil with a big eraser. You got to have a team.
$1 million tip, audience, right there. $1 million audience tip, because you're right. Everybody tries to run it. They scale. What do they call that? Running thin. No, what's the phrase they use in business when they don't have a lot of expenses? I forget what it is, but they I can't pay for that now. I can't pay for that. And I agree with some of that, but education and expertise is something you can't avoid. I'm so glad you said that from a servant's heart.
Yeah, for sure. You are a steward. You have been given responsibility for this business and these people. You've got to be willing to surround yourself with subject matter experts. This is a little bit of a digression, but it's working on the business rather than in the business.
Yeah, you got people to work in the business. That's why you hired them.
Exactly. And you're the CEO.
Yeah. You need to be in the high tower looking down at everything and doing all this. This is so cool. Yep. We're coming to the end, but You have many years. You're a young guy, but still you've had many years. What advice would you give young professionals, entrepreneurs, especially in finance, because that's kind of what is your expertise, to be better at finance, but also to be connector and a servant heart?
Yeah, you bet. So first, I would encourage any young person to be insatiably curious and feed that curiosity with mentors, with conversation, with the dialogue. Have a humble heart that's coachable, and certainly an insatiable curiosity. And the second piece, I'll give 3 points. The second piece is recognize that we're running a marathon. Warren Buffett decided he was going to step down this past year, and I think he's mid to late 90s. And the interview question when he made his announcement was, when did you know it was time? And he said, well, when I turned 90, I didn't have the same energy I did before I was 90. And I knew that others could have, with more energy, could do the job that I just wasn't doing. 90 years old, Steve. We're running a 100-year race here. Don't get caught up in 10 yards or 100 yards when we're running 26.2 miles or 100 years. And the third piece is, if you do those two things and your heart's desire is to serve, to wake up every day and say, okay, here I am. How can I help elevate those around me? Especially in finance, where the financial gains are just daily. There's always a carrot in front of you. The money will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Other industries don't quite have that financial wherewithal, but and then let me finish with this. And I hope, regardless of everyone's age, we all take some time to think about this. If the listeners have not been tracking with the media around Scotty Scheffler, who's been winning golf championships that are at the very level of what Tiger Woods did during his heyday, spend some time looking at his response to questions about what life is about and what fulfillment looks like and means. The spoiler alert is, it's not winning championships. Because he said, on Monday, what do I got? I got to go win another championship. And so if you're running a 100-year race, it can't just be about accumulating championships. And so check that out. Some of his interviews recently have been really, really thought-provoking for all of us. So thank you again, Steve. This has been phenomenal. You're doing a great service to the entrepreneurial community.
God bless. Thank you. And real quick, I also saw this, almost forgot to ask, the Soccer Chaplains United.
Yeah.
Very unique. I'm excited to hear more. Real quick, what's that about?
Yeah, so I mentioned I had an athletic background. Before I got into finance, I was a strength and conditioning coach with Indiana Soccer in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I have been very, very fortunate across my life. And I see people and organizations that I know there's a straight line for me to contribute and have an impact. And a dear friend started an organization called Soccer Chaplains United that places chaplains in everything from club teams, high school, to MLS teams. a chaplain is a really, really important component to any organization, whether it's corporate chaplains of America for entrepreneurs, military chaplains to soccer chaplains. And so I said to Brad Kenny, who founded Soccer Chaplains, I said, hey, I have a real heart for chaplains and for the beautiful game. I was a strength coach for a prolific college team. If there's anything I can do to serve you, let me know. And Brad said, you should be on our board. And I served the organization as a board member for many years. And it is a really, really special group doing incredible things now globally, in addition to the United States. And with the World Cup here next year, everyone should look at Soccer Chaplains United and start tracking them on their website and social media.
Well, I knew it was a cool name. Now I know it's a cool thing. It's really cool. And I agree with you. Chaplains are that bridge between your coach and the player and the school and all that. And shout out, go Hoosiers.
Oh yeah.
Love Indiana. Big fan of Hoosiers. Let's end with a really fun question outside of business. So I've got a reservation at a restaurant for you. Table 4, you're going to sit in one of the chairs. In the 3 empty chairs, who would you invite to converse with, get to know, ask questions, whether dead or alive? And what food would you order for the table?
Ooh. Okay. So, this has a little bit of recency bias. So, recently I took a once in a lifetime vacation with my wife and 2 kids to Europe. And we were in Cyprus, Italy, Greece, and Spain, celebrating birthdays, wedding anniversaries, graduations. Like, it all came together this year. So I said, let's do something big as a family. And so being in that part of the world, it's difficult not to stumble on biblical archaeology. And so I was literally standing where the Romans imprisoned Paul, the Apostle Paul, in Rome. I was in the prison cell. I saw where the Apostle Paul was brutally beaten, flogged, whipped in Cyprus. And so to sit there with this guy, Paul, who led an extraordinary life, extraordinary. I would enjoy that immensely. The second person, again, it's just, you're catching me on this huge kick recently with Scotty Scheffler. I hate to bring that up again, but his comments have just been so captivating and thought-provoking. I would thoroughly enjoy sitting there with him. And then I'm trying to think of someone that's, you know what? Because we talked about it, I'd make the third person Warren Buffett.
What I thought. I kind of thought, and I'd love to sit with him. Oh my God, I'm with you. Just amazing, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So,
those 3 people. And again, you're catching me with, it's all so front of mind, but I would go back to Sicily, and we ordered this charcuterie board. Steve, it was crazy. I mean, people hype up the food in Italy. I lived up to all of it.
wow. And what a great meal for chatting. Just people grab hand.
Oh man, perfect. It was, yeah. I don't know if Warren's probably not a drinker. I don't know if Scotty is, but bottle of wine, charcuterie, the pizza, the homemade pasta.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I have to bring a fifth chair and I have to come to Italy with you because that would be a blessing just to hear what those, I mean, and three iconic people, successful people. Paul was successful. I mean, he's all over the Bible. If you're in the Bible, you're pretty darn successful in my book, right?
But even if you look at him just as like a historic figure, he was successful.
Massive. Yeah. Well, Geoff, this has been unbelievable. You know, I get to meet people for the first time and we do these shows, but you far exceed my expectations. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the golden nuggets. I'm sure people listening are going, how can we reach out to Geoff and connect? Talk about connecting.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for asking. The website is sdrventures.com. And I'm very, very accessible. I love talking to folks and talk to folks all day, every day. My email, Geoff spelled with a G. So it's first initial G, last name Eliason, Eliason as in Nancy, at sdrventures.com. And just would love to hear from the audience and how I can help.
This is fantastic. And email. This guy's serious about connecting. Email. All right. So I tell everybody, don't be afraid of your email. Thank you again for taking the time and being here. Audience, if you're a business owner and you're thinking about exiting, or you know somebody that's thinking about exiting or is doing really well, an email away. I'm sure he'll jump on a call for 15 to 30 or whatever the time frame is and discuss the possibilities, because not everybody's going to be a client, but he's going to talk to everybody. And that's what I love about this and what SDR does and what Geoff does. And that's why you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because the other gift you can give is this. You're talking to somebody who says, God, I'm ready to exit. I'm 10 years. I'm burned out. All that you hear, share the link. You don't have to, have Geoff connect with them. Just share the link. And if they love what they hear, which I know they will, they're going to reach out. But they reach out, Geoff and SDR helps them, and they exit. Well, one, you made a friend for life, but two, you gave the gift of serving, connecting. So again, Geoff, thanks again. And audience, me and Geoff want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.